Okay, let's do some catch up here. First off, I'm really sorry that I was not able to do an Impact video, an NXT video, and a SmackDown video this past week. So what I'm going to do, given the fact that it's Monday, I am going to make up for it by giving you a whole lot of wrestling content today and tomorrow. So I am now filming this to be the Impact video. And right afterwards, I'm going to be filming NXT and SmackDown, and we're going to get that taken care of in the next few hours. So, sorry about this. It probably won't happen again. Now, I can guarantee you there will not be a Thursday night Impact video because we're not getting back from jobs until after midnight. So, I will probably shoot that out to you guys on maybe Friday morning, potentially. I would say Friday morning is probably a good bet because I'm going to have to watch Impact and then do the video. And Friday we'll be watching Paranoia and the Butler. Lee Daniels presents The Butler. Anyway, based on the novel Push by Sapphire. So, that joke from many, many moons ago. But basically, that's what we got right now. I've spent this morning basically looking for a tablet. Trying to get a new tablet because, I've got this, which is the iPhone 5. I've got my iPod Touch over there. I do have a physical video camcorder, but I'm not too sure about working with that. We'll figure that out when we get to it. And I'm looking for a tablet. I've been trying to get an iPad mini on eBay. Way too expensive. Don't have that kind of money. And I looked into all sorts of different tablets, like the Google Nexus 7 THD. I was looking into that, and I don't think that's going to work out either. So, may just be SOL when it comes to the tablet. So, there's always that. So, still no news on the Magic Bands, and now I hear that we'll find out up to 17 days before trip. So I still got a little bit of time before I'll find out if I'm going to be testing Magic Bands or getting a Magic Band because of a full rollout of the program in September. So hopefully we're looking forward to that. It's 38 days away from me going home again, so yay, that's going to be awesome. And there's going to be 4 reveals at midnight of the brand new houses for our Halloween Horror Nights 23. So that's going to be taken care of after midnight. So I will be doing videos for those, and I promise you I'll do videos for those. Our first reveal will come tonight at midnight, and leaning towards the reveal being an American Werewolf in London. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the first reveal. And I think Resident Evil will go second. And after Resident Evil, I think La Llorona will go third, and then the 4th reveal will end up being... Well, there's 2 options. Number 1 will be either the sequel House to Havoc, and we'll let Legendary Truth play us into the Robert the Blade prison house, or it'll be flipped, and Havoc will be our announced house. And as of right now, we have 8 houses. There's only 7 permits because one soundstage has 2 houses. So that's the reason why we only have 7 permits and we have 8 houses. Nothing's concrete, though, so maybe, just maybe, Havoc got dropped, who knows. But I have good source that it didn't, and we'll probably just get the Legendary Truth connection to the Robert the Blade prison house rolled out with the full reveal. So, that's my prediction for that. Now, my notes this week are not the greatest. We've got a little bit of... I got some... Post-its here, and I have my handy-dandy notebook, so we're going to work right into Impact, and this is actually the first time I got a chance to watch Impact. I didn't have any time to watch it the past weekend. We've had so much to do, so many movies to watch, so many movies to review, and a lot of video footage to shoot, so hopefully you guys saw and enjoyed the content you got over the weekend. And like I said, and we said in the videos, full disclosure, we shot 2 weeks of Versus, 2 weeks of Summer of Tarantino, and we've got another video to shoot, which will actually be shot tomorrow night, and it's going to come out on either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I haven't quite decided yet. And that's going to be the limited release movies of the week, including the stuff that we saw, plus stuff that we saw yesterday, which would be Lovelace, Prince Avalanche, Fruitvale Station, Crystal Fairy, as well as the Way Way Back. So that's all going to be on a video, and we're going to film that tomorrow. Still go to Beat Up, still do that Steez, and hopefully Will be joining us to film some sort of a bat chat or a Will tutorial, depending on how you look at it. So that's what we're looking at right now. So without any further ado, let's talk TNA Impact. So right before, my DVR starts off with the end of the show that runs before it, and I don't remember off the top of my head, I think it might be NCIS? I think that's right. I think it's NCIS. I'm not positive. You know, I'm a stickler for perfection here. NCIS Spike. That's not even a word. Spike TV. Yeah, I was right. Or CSI, or... Yeah, it's NCIS. I was right. Sweet. I didn't know if I was right or not, so there you go. So, basically, what we have here is, on the credit roll of NCIS, Aces and Eights, namely Bully Ray, Mr. Anderson, and Taz, are accosting Mike Tenay outside the building. And, of course, Taz was Bobby Heenan last week, and he wasn't allowed to, or in this case, I guess I'd say 2 weeks ago, he was Bobby Heenan. Basically, he was not allowed to enter the building, kind of like the debut episode of Monday Night Raw at the Manhattan Center so many moons ago, back in 1993. But Taz is mad, and deservingly so, because he had to basically wait outside, and he got the mind games played with him by the limo that showed up, playing the August 1st warning video on the laptop that was inside the back of the limo. Needless to say, Taz is a little bit peeved, so now he's going to take it out on Mike Tenay, and he's like, Mike Tenay, you did this to me, and you're the reason why I wasn't allowed. Forget about Hulk Hogan. It's all his fault, but it's also your fault too. I'm putting everybody on blast right now, is basically what Taz was doing. So, they pretty much just rough up Mike Tenay and tell him to leave. So Mike Tenay is like, I'm not a wrestler. I wasn't even a former wrestler. I'm going to get out of here. So he does. And that means that Jeremy Borash is going to be joined on commentary by Taz. So Taz and JB are the commentators for tonight's show. Mr. Anderson actively on commentary for a couple of minutes. Actually, a couple segments, to be more specific. Until his match later on in the show with Magnus for the BFG series. So, they come to the ring before they officially become the commentators, and Bully comes out with Mr. Anderson and Taz. Taz immediately goes to the floor, starts roughing up JB. Anderson sits down, and he basically says, this is my desk, this is my chair, it's not yours, it's not Mike Tenay's. So, of course, Bully's peeved about what happened last week as well. He's like, he references the August 1st warning debut of Tito Ortiz last week, and he basically says, you know, no one does surprises like me. My advice to you is just to stay out of my way. Number 2, there's going to be 3D in a tag team match tonight against Chris Sabin and a member of the Main Event Mafia. Well, it doesn't really matter to Bully Ray, because next week at Hardcore Justice in Norfolk, Virginia, you're going to be locked in a steel cage with me, and I will thus become your 2-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So he's like, where's this contract? Where's this contract? Where's Hogan? Even though, actually, it's kind of funny, because in this actual promo, he mentions the fact that Hogan is in Dallas right now. He is working with the board of directors of TNA, going over the contracts and contract negotiations and various other situations, but he's out of the building and he's not going to be there, and Hogan still calls him out anyway. That's kind of funny. So yeah, continuity. Anyway, he does get a Hogan that comes out, but it's not Hulk. Oh no, it's Brooke, and Brooke comes out and basically says that she has been authorized to read an email from the general manager of TNA, Hulk Hogan, of course, basically saying that you did not read the Destination X contract for your rematch close enough, because you would see then that if you lose to Chris Sabin next week at Hardcore Justice, you will never be allowed to have another shot at the TNA World Heavyweight Championship ever again, thus pretty much telegraphing the fact that Bully Ray's going to win on Thursday. So Sabin's out at this point, and he's wearing the title kind of like a... He doesn't wear it around his waist, doesn't carry it over his shoulder. He's kind of got it like a bandolier, I guess you would say. I think that's the word we're looking for. Like one of those gimmicks you wear around your shoulder, kind of like that. like where people kept their swords back in the olden days, in the old-timey times. So, I don't even know if that's exactly what it's called. It's pretty much like a shoulder strap. He basically wears it like a shoulder strap. And how some women carry a purse, to be totally honest. So, yeah, there's always that. And Saban basically makes it known that no one thought I could beat you except for one man, and that's myself. If you would have asked anybody else in the locker room, they would have said, no, there's no way I could win. But if you'd asked one person, that being me, I would have obviously said yes, and I did. And there's not going to be any Aces and Eights members, or any Main Event Mafia members for that matter. There's not going to be a hammer. There's going to be one-on-one inside the steel cage next week, and Chris Sabin will retain the championship. At least that's what he thinks. So, basically, Bully is peeved to the fact that his livelihood or future title shots are up for grabs, given the fact that the contract now states that if he does not win, he will never get another title shot. So he reluctantly signs the contract. Sabin signs the contract, and we have our first segment in the books. First match of the evening, Bound for Glory Series matchup announced by you, the fans. This match was made by the fans on ImpactWrestling.com. Samoa Joe taking on the charismatic Enigma Jeff Hardy. So this match is actually really good back and forth match. We go midway through the match like we do here on Pop. So an inverted atomic drop, and when he drops him, senton backsplash, 1-2, and a kick out. So he snapmare to Jeff Hardy, and he kind of locks on a crossface. It's like a modified crossface because it's kind of like the crossface across the eyes and across the bridge of the nose. And it's not kind of played like a chin lock, but not, to be totally honest. So he elbows out of it, and Joe with the snap jabs in the corner, and leapfrog by Jeff Hardy gets caught into a powerbomb. It looks like he's going to go for the Billy Goat's curse, but it gets countered by Joe this time into the STF. STF turned into a version of Yuji Nagata's Nagata Lock 2, or the Rings of Saturn, depending on who is calling your match. Rolls him up on his shoulders, 1-2, and a kick out. So whip in, and he gets the boots up once. He charges in, got the boots up again, and Hardy with a clothesline out of the corner, and a back elbow, and he whips in, a reverse, and the flying forearm off the ropes on Samoa Joe. He nails an inverted atomic drop of his own and drops both heels into the midsection, including a seated drop kick on Samoa Joe. You know how we normally do. 1-2 and a kick out. So he whips in, and it gets countered with a back elbow. Hardy goes up top, whisper in the wind, 1-2 and a kick out. So he goes to charge in again. Joe catches him out of the corner with the ST Joe and sets up for the Muscle Buster. Hardy counters out of that. Boot in the midsection, twist of fate, countered again, goes for the coquina clutch. It gets broken with a jawbreaker, and he goes for what appears to be a jackknife cover, but instead of flipping forward, he just bridges upward, stacks Joe up, shoulders, can't go anywhere, 1-2-3, and Jeff Hardy gets another big 7 points in the Bound for Glory series, and Samoa Joe gets a big goose egg. So, first segment of the evening, good match between the two. I very much enjoyed these two's chemistry. So in our next match of the Bound for Glory series, the leader of the Bound for Glory series, the man who's on top by his lonesome right now, Magnus of the Main Event Mafia, taking on the lone member of the Aces and Eights in the Bound for Glory series, Mr. Ken Anderson. So this match actually was pretty good for what it was as well. We go midway through the match like we do here on Pop. Backdrop suplex on Mr. Anderson, and a big running clothesline, and then just a regular clothesline. And Magnus catches him off with a rebound lariat. Whip in, ducks the clothesline, goes for the cross body, and he gets picked up in the air, and he falls through with the hanging vertical suplex. Looked more like a modified version of Al Snow's snowplow. Pretty much what it was. He goes up top for the flying elbow. Mr. Anderson comes up top. He looks like he's going to try to knock him off. Knocks him off with a big right hand. He goes for the flying elbow. He misses. Bobby Roode runs to the ring with a steel chair in hand. He thinks about it for about, a millisecond, and he jabs Mr. Anderson in the ribs with the chair, and then lowers the chair over the back viciously, thus disqualifying Magnus, thus making Magnus lose 10 points. Now, he's catchable in the Bound for Glory series, because Magnus was at 49 points before this match, and of course he loses 10 via the disqualification, and that gives Mr. Anderson another 3 for the win. So, anyway, that's how we go in the Bound for Glory series, and everything's going great right there. But I'll talk about the BFG series in a minute. So we see the bromans. Jesse Godder's looking like a very, very jacked up Jamie Kennedy at this point, to be totally honest. He looks like Jamie Kennedy. And he says, you know what, we kicked Tara to the curb. Bromans before romance, bro. Oh my god. Anyway, Mickie James shows up and she says she's gonna, once Storm and Gunner taken care of, and she'll do the rest and get rid of ODB. So, basically Jesse says he's a star because he wears sunglasses. Yeah. Excuse me. So, okay. We get the Huntington Beach bad boy Tito Ortiz come to the ring, and he says he doesn't have too many answers for everyone's numerous questions. And at this point, he's about ready to say something else. Kurt Angle does interrupt him and says, you know what? You're entering my world. This ring is my world. I've earned the right to call myself the best wrestler in the world today. I'm telling you, I will respect your space, but heed my warning, you better respect mine. Do you read me? Loud and clear is what Tito Ortiz responds with. And Bully Ray comes out and says, I don't respect either of you. And, of course, I could just double leg you right now, Tito, and make you tap out right here and now. And Kurt Angle, I've been beating you up for 20 years, so obviously I know how to take care of you. So basically, Bully's saying, stay away from the aces and eights. This is telegraphing something, but I'll talk to that in a minute. We get our 6-person tag team match to go to our next segment, which is the Bromans of Mickie James taking on the current TNA World Tag Team Champions, Cowboy James Storm and Gunner, with ODB. So a DDT on Jesse by James Storm, whip in reverse, boot up, and he staggers him momentarily, but Jesse ends up ramming his shoulder into the ribs of Cowboy James Storm and knocking him back into the corner and ramming vicious shoulder blocks into the corner, tagging to Robbie E, and Robbie E gets planted with a lung blower, tagging to Gunner. Gunner catches him off the ropes with a Uranagi and a backbreaker. Mickey jumps up on the back for a sleeper hold, and ODB pulls her off, shoulder tackle sends her down, gun rack and a boot in the midsection, and Jesse pulls off his tag team partner, setting up, and James Storm nails a last call super kick with authority on Jesse, and walks right into Robbie E coming off the middle rope with the crossbody, and it's planted with an over-the-shoulder power slam into a front flip neck breaker. Combination 1, 2, 3. Tag team champions, and ODB win this match. So a lot going on at the end, and basically just to continue a storyline, give Storm and Gunner a match on television, to be honest, because it's been a long time since they've had one. After the match, Gail Kim attacks ODB from behind until she's pulled off, and then, of course, for good measure, Mickey cheap shots ODB from behind, and the heels reign supreme. Next match in the Bound for Glory series, the Battle of the Bad Influence. The Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels taking on Frankie Kazarian. This match was really, really good to start off. It was a good technical contest. And we'll go with, they circle around, they lock up, and they shove off about 4 times. Fireman's carry from Kaz and a key lock on Daniels. Whip in reverse arm drag into an arm bar. Whip in reverse arm drag into an arm bar. Head scissors by Kaz. Drop toe hold by Kaz. Headlock and a whip in. Roll up 1, 2 and a kick out. Roll onto the shoulders 1, 2 and a kick out. Roll back to the shoulders 1, 2 and a kick out. Whip in reverse backslide by Daniels 1, 2 and a kick out. Jackknife cover from Kaz 1, 2 and a kick out. So they shove each other. They shove each other, and you can tell they're getting frustrated. They're getting angry at each other. They're about ready to come to blows. They circle again. They have a stare down. And they smile, and they exit the ring at the same time, letting Earl Hebner count them out. And that is how the match ends. So, I do want to talk about this real quick. It's really interesting how this match ended up going down. Obviously, they started off with a really, really awesome wrestling match to start this whole thing off. And I'm glad they went that direction. But it was one of those things that... There you go. It was one of those things that really just... You knew what was going to happen right away. You knew they couldn't come to blows, obviously, because they're a tag team. They're a very successful tag team. Probably the best tag team of the after 3D generation in TNA. So... that's pretty much where we go from there. And Bobby Roode comes out again with a steel chair. He walks down the ramp, and he's got something to say. So basically, Bobby Roode, what he does, he says basically there's strength in numbers. Everyone's talking about the Aces and Eights, or they're talking about the Main Event Mafia. Need to remember that Bobby Roode also knows how to put a stable together. How Fortune used to be. How Fortune used to be a really formidable stable in TNA. And Bobby Roode understands via their strength in numbers, there's also strength in having more than one person in the Bound for Glory series. So, he is officially forming a stable with Bad Influence, thus comprising 25% of the Bound for Glory series, giving the Bad Influence and Bobby Roode a very good chance to win the BFG series. And according to Chris Daniels' Twitter, which I'm reading right now actually, follow him at FAC Daniels, and I'm sure you guys do out there. I'm a big Christopher Daniels fan, as everyone knows. This officially has a name. The name of this stable is a name that I'm kind of familiar with. The name of this stable is Ego. They are the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization. So basically, Daniels is a big fan of LXG. Maybe not necessarily the movie version, but the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the movie that came out in the early 2000s. I gotta see when it came out. I'll tell you guys. Give me a second. I'll see. League. Hold on. As I type, you know you love this. Here we go. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yes, it's another Alan Moore novel. Alan Moore, of course, the one who was behind Watchmen, and this is a DC comic, basically, came out in 1999, and of course it goes into the movie. The movie, of course, basically was kind of a bomb, but I don't know if Daniels likes the movie or not. He's definitely a comic book mark, and he's definitely an Alan Moore mark, so it makes total sense that they would call themselves the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization. I wonder if they're part of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm guessing in comic book lore, they probably would be. So, Kaz makes it bestly known they are three of the best in the business, as they always do. So, interesting to see what happens with Ego in the near future in the Bound for Glory series, given the fact that any of those three could win now. And I'll talk about actual standings in a second. But we'll get to that after this main event match, which is 3D teaming up again to take on Chris Sabin and his partner, which looked like it was going to be Sting, and Sting comes out in gear and everything, but ends up being Kurt Angle. They pull a fast one on the Aces and Eights. So, Devon chinlock on Sabin. Sabin punches out of it. There's a big scoop slam and leaping guillotine leg drop on Chris Sabin, tagging to Bully Ray. Bully Ray with those Vader-like cross faces and an overhand chop. Whip in, goes for a sunset, and that's reversed with a right hand, but it doesn't connect. It connects with the canvas more than it connects with the face of Chris Sabin. Goes for the enziguri kick. Bully ducks out of the way, tagging to Devon, and he puts the foot on the bottom rope, and he dive bombs the knee with the injured knee of Chris Sabin, of course, that was worked on so heavily in the Destination X match with when Sabin won the World Heavyweight Championship. So, good dives off the middle rope, and he dives nothing into the boot of Chris Sabin. So, tagging to Bully Ray, huge tag to Kurt Angle, clothesline for both members of 3D, and overhead release belly-to-belly suplex on Devon. German on Bully Ray, 1-2, and Devon makes a save. Olympic slam on Bully, 1-2, again, save. Whip in, clothesline. Angle caught with a huge Uranagi from Bully Ray, 1-2, and no, barely kicks out. So Bully Bomb goes for a counter, back into the ankle lock, and Devon gets German suplexed for his troubles. Bully plants him with a big boot, sends him down to the canvas. So Sabin's tagged in, big time missile drop kick, and spinning back kick on Devon, and Bully goes for a clothesline on Sabin, ducks, nails Devon. Devon's down. Enziguri kick, 1-2, and a kick out. So, Sabin's putting it on right now. So, Sabin, hip toss over the top rope and onto the steel ramp. They hit 3D on Kurt Angle, and tables set up in the corner. Devon grabs the table, sets it up in the corner. Bully goes to go into the table, and he ends up breaking the table himself. Devon ends up low-bridged, and he goes over the top rope to the floor. Sabin goes up top for the flying body press. 1, 2, 3, and Chris Sabin wins. So that's how we go home on the Hardcore Justice go-home edition of Impact. So that was the show. Let's talk Bound for Glory series. I'll talk Bound for Glory series, then I'm going to talk about Hardcore Justice. So, basically, what we got here, Bound for Glory series is as followed. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 for 7, 8, 9, 10. Joseph Park is dead last still with -3. Jay Bradley still has got a big goose egg. Kaz, with the draw tonight, picks up 2 points. So, Kaz now has 2 points. Bobby Roode and Hernandez are tied with 7. Austin Aries has 21. AJ Styles has 22. Christopher Daniels has 23, and Mr. Anderson and Jeff Hardy are tied with 24. Number 2 is Samoa Joe with 26, and via his disqualification in the match this evening, Magnus now has 39, so he lost 10 points. So that's the Bound for Glory series right now. It's still middle of August, anyone can win. So let's talk Hardcore Justice. Next week, it is going to be Hardcore Justice, the pay-per-view without being on pay-per-view, live from Norfolk, Virginia, and here is the card we have at the present time. It is going to be a 20-point ladder match. 4 men battling for that 20 points. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Austin Aries, and Kazarian. They're going to battle. Not to be outdone, there's going to be another 20-point tables match between Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, Magnus, and Mr. Anderson. So that's going to be huge. There's going to be a no disqualification, no countouts, Texas Tornado Knockouts tag team match between Gail Kim and Mickie James taking on Velvet Sky and ODB. You're also going to see the semi-main event. It's going to supposedly be 5-on-5 Main Event Mafia versus Aces and Eights, and the loser, the one who gets pinned, the one who submits, has to leave the company. Now let's talk about this for a second, shall we? So, everyone knows that Kurt Angle went to rehab. And obviously, this show was taped last week before he did go to rehab. Actually, pretty much right after this match, he did go to rehab. Well, he got picked up and now he's in rehab, so there you go. But, you supposedly have a 5-on-5 match. Now, Nux, Garrett Bischoff, and Wes Briscoe, nowhere to be seen on this show. Nowhere at all. Bully's obviously not going to be on the match because, well, let's think about it. He's kind of got something else to do that night, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that you have Aces and Eights members would be Mr. Anderson, Garrett, Wes, Nux, and Devon. So there's 5. Taking on the Main Event Mafia, which would be Sting, Magnus, Joe. See, that stops you right there. Because think about it from this perspective. You wouldn't have... They don't want to make people work twice. I mean, they could, obviously. But I think they set up what's going to end up happening. Magnus is already booked. Joe is already booked. What I'm thinking right now... I'm looking at this and making sure that I'm not losing my mind here when I'm saying this, because it's very possible. Devon, Nux, Bischoff, and Briscoe, there's 4, taking on Sting, Rampage, maybe 2 other people. It's supposed to be 5-on-5, and I'm going to see if there's any new updates as of this moment. Is there? Far as I know, let me check to make sure I'm not losing my mind here. Like I said, it's very possible. So, okay, upcoming live events, we're looking at it right here. So, it's supposed to be... Losing team is gone from TNA. It says, an all-out war is 2 of the most powerful groups in wrestling on Thursday night as the Main Event Mafia battles Aces and Eights for supremacy in TNA. By the end of the night, one of the alliances will be fractured as part of the match stipulation. The wrestler that loses the match will be gone from the company. This says nothing more about the 5-on-5 stipulation. So let's go with the fact that it's Sting and Rampage. That's interesting. Maybe, God, this is so hard. Let's say it's Sting and Rampage and maybe Eric Young. Eric Young's the person I would pick, obviously. And maybe Joseph Park. Or maybe, Tito. Oh my God, this is so hard. Either way, what I'm saying right now, let's look at the members of the groups and let's see what they have to lose from leaving the company. Sting, too freaking obvious. Not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I know you guys want Sting and The Undertaker, and I want to see it too. But Sting's not going anywhere. Not anytime soon. Then you have Joe and Magnus. Well, no, there's no way they're leaving. That's not happening. Then you've got Angle, who's not even in the match. So unless someone wrestles for him, his contract can't be on line either. So no, Magnus, wow, long day. Angle's not going anywhere. Let's look at the Aces and Eights real quick before I talk about Rampage Jackson, who of course will be the one person from the Main Event Mafia that will lose. Nux, Bischoff, Briscoe. Doesn't matter about any of them. None of them are even on the show tonight. Devon's not going anywhere. Mr. Anderson's not going anywhere. Obviously, Bully Ray's not going anywhere. So, even though crazy booking would tell you that Bully might lose and then he would not be able to wrestle because he's already fired, no, we're not doing that. That's stupid. What I'm going to say right now, I say Rampage Jackson loses if he works. I say Rampage is the one who loses. And it makes sense that Tito Ortiz comes out and costs Rampage the match, building up their fight in Bellator. I know a wrestling storyline leading to an actual fight in an MMA company is kind of dumb, but, honestly, could you do any better at this point? Sting's not going to lose. I'm sorry. I know you guys want to see Sting lose, and you see Sting go to the WWE, but no, he's going to stay with TNA a little bit longer. I'm sorry. He's probably going to be there until the ship goes down. And as many people out there that think that the ship's going down, it's teetering, but I don't think they're in as much danger as people think they are. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just looking through rose-colored glasses, but still, it's just how it works for me. I think that Rampage loses and needs to. He leaves TNA, he goes fights in Bellator against Tito, problem solved. We don't have to worry about this MMA stuff ever again. That's good. I like that. And we do it that way. Or we have someone wrestle for Angle, and then that person loses, so is Angle gone or is that person gone? Anything's possible. The Aces and Eights pretty much are... Okay. 3 members of the Aces and Eights are expendable. Nux, this should be docked. Doc should still be in the company, and Nux should be gone, because Nux is useless. Bischoff and Briscoe all need to be gone. I think they'll get rid of them soon. I say before 2013 is over, I say the only Aces and Eights members that are still with the company, that are with the group right now, are Bully, Anderson, Devon. That's it. I say Briscoe and Bischoff probably get future endeavored somehow. Bischoff may not, due to the fact that Eric is now in charge of the company, but the Aces and Eights are pretty much going to end at Bound for Glory. The fall of the Aces and Eights starts next week. But it's kind of funny because the stable's going down, but if you go to my prediction, that's why I say Rampage loses. Rampage loses due to the help of Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz pulls the, I guess you could say the Mike Tyson role from DX back in the day. But it's flipped. This time Tito comes out, and Tito he helps the Aces and Eights win, but he's not with the Aces and Eights. So don't think about that. Don't think he's going to turn Aces and Eights, because he's not. He's just going to help Rampage Jackson lose, so he's gone for the company, and then they both can focus on their Bellator fight. That makes sense to me. So, of course, that's the reason why it won't happen. Anyway, no, that's what we're thinking is going to happen. And at the main event, I say Chris Sabin against Bully Ray for the World Heavyweight Championship inside the steel cage. I say Brooke Hogan comes in and finally reveals her true colors, and joins her husband in the Aces and Eights. And we start the McMahon-Helmsley era that everyone was talking about was going to happen. the Bully Ray Brooke Hogan era in TNA. I'm pretty sure that's exactly where we're going, and I know that's exactly where we're going. Because the Aces and Eights can't interfere, Main Event Mafia can't interfere, Brooke Hogan's going to interfere, and Brooke Hogan's going to cost Chris Sabin the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Bully can't lose, because if he loses, he can never get another title shot, and there's really not many loopholes if you're a heel. So, unless you want to go back to the lawyer situation from a couple weeks ago in Louisville. But I don't think they're going to go that direction. I think that's what we're looking at right now. If you want my prediction, I'm saying Bully Ray wins the World Heavyweight Championship back again, and he's going to face Hulk Hogan at Bound for Glory. And Hogan's going to win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, vacate the title, and then we're going to have a big tournament to start off 2014. That's what I'm thinking is going to actually happen. So that's my prediction for that. And I don't have a problem if that's going to be the case. He's going to give us a new World Heavyweight Champion, and AJ Styles will probably reign supreme. The Tornado Tag match could go either way. I say at this point you put ODB and Velvet over, I think, at this point, and you have Mickey take the pin. So ODB will get a shot at Mickie James somewhere down the road with the Knockouts title on the line. Rampage Jackson is the one who pinned in the Loser Leaves TNA match, and Bully Ray, like I said, beats Chris Sabin with the help from Brooke Hogan. I think that it's too obvious for Aries to win the ladder match. Actually, not really obvious. Aries not going to win the ladder match. Jeff Hardy's not going to win the ladder match. I think Kaz wins the ladder match. Kaz wins the ladder match, gets 20 points. So Kaz would have 22 points. Daniels would have 23 points. Bobby Roode wins the tables match, and he gets 20 points. So Roode now has 27. Daniels has 23. And Kaz now has 22. And they're all now contenders for the series. And maybe they can force Magnus, Joe, and Hardy to lose down the road so they can lose points. So this all comes down to the former members of Fortune battling for the Bound for Glory series win. And we're always talked about AJ Styles winning the Bound for Glory series, and I still think it'll probably happen. But this nice, interesting thing with Magnus and Joe, I think they're going to end up taking each other out, and AJ's probably going to win the Bound for Glory series. And he'll probably beat three of the four members of... Well, actually, no. He'll beat the other three former members of Fortune, the extremely gifted extremely gifted. I went with the old school. That's an ego stable from a long time ago. Shout out. So, the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization, which will probably be beating Roode, Daniels, and Kaz to win the Bound for Glory series at Bound for Glory. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going to happen. And that's the right direction. So, that was TNA this week. So, hopefully you enjoyed the show. And if you did enjoy the show, if you enjoy these videos, then tell your friends about them. Leave a comment, do subscribe. And share these videos on your social media. And get the word out about the Popcaster Revolution. We're a small group, folks, but there's strength in numbers, I know this, but we have a nice little group here. Everyone gets along. This is a great channel. We talk wrestling, we talk Disney, we talk movies, music, everything under the sun, and all sorts of things in between. So, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and you will get a NXT and SmackDown video in the next few hours. So, until a little bit later, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.